While the world watched Gaza from afar, some people decided to go there, not for politics or for publicity, but for help. One of them was the brave Dr. Yi-Chun, a Taiwanese plastic surgeon who went with Doctors Without Borders on a mission specifically to Nasser Medical Hospital in Khan Younis, where he worked on treating severe injuries. Dr. Wu here to join us today and share his story, a story of compassion, courage, and humanity. Thank you very much for coming here, Dr. Wu.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for your time. Alhamdulillah, you are back here safely with your family and to your home. Thank you very much. Dr. Wu, to begin with, when did you decide to go to Gaza, and what motivated that decision to join Doctors Without Borders on this mission?
Okay. I first joined Doctors Without Borders in 2019, but then there was a gap between my joining and then my first assignment. Mm-hmm. So the first assignment came in early 2024. It was to Gaza due to the ongoing conflict. And so that was actually also my very first MSF mission.
Oh, so you went directly to Gaza during the wartime.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Before going to Gaza, how did you prepare yourself? I mean, professionally and mentally. Did you face any challenges before your departure?
Actually, I did a lot of preparation, and mostly from the information that MSF provided me. So they provided me with a lot of local situations, the ongoing situation, any recent changes, and what I would be expected to see to perform there, to what kind of surgeries to perform there, and everything that I might encounter during the process. The other things, I mainly gathered the information from news or the internet about any information about Gaza and everything related. Yeah.
Did you get the correct picture before going to Gaza, or?
Everything MSF provided me was very accurate, but I kind of noticed that the things that I was able to see on the internet and on the news was just maybe a little bit of the things that I saw there.
I mentioned that we have met Dr. Hung before. Dr. Hung, who is the other Taiwanese doctor, also was on a mission with Doctors Without Borders to Gaza. Unless Dr. Hung, as I remember, he went before the situation escalated. He went in 2023, maybe yes. June or July. Yes. But you, Dr. Hung, Dr. Wu, you went directly in 2024.
That's right, yes.
During the conflict.
Yes.
What was your first impression when you went to Gaza? The life there, the hospital, the situation?
My impression when I went to Gaza was shocking, to say the least. It started from the first minute I stepped in Gaza. We went through a very difficult and very prolonged process. It took several days and a lot of changing cars and everything, UN convoys, armed vehicles, so passed through a lot of checkpoints until we went in Gaza. And the first minute I stepped in, we saw a lot of trucks just outside the border of Gaza, a lot of truck drivers. They were crouching on the floor, and we even saw a truck driver that was shot dead on the side of the road. So it was very shocking at the first moment, starting from the very first moment.
Before even entering Gaza.
Yes, before even entering the majority of Gaza, just at the border. And then after, passing through the streets, the totally destroyed streets, seeing all the people, it was also very shocking to me. I already knew what I would see on the street, but it was an entirely different thing when you see it for yourself. You see these children, these people on the streets, and all the tents and everything. Yes, it was very shocking. And then the next great shock came when I started work in the hospital. So the hospital was Nasser Hospital. I was in the trauma unit, so all the patients that came to that unit were trauma. So the traumas were all from bombs and gunshots and some burn injuries. So it was very overwhelming. The number, the intensity of the injuries, and also the percentage of patients that were children, it was all very shocking to me. Yes.
Yeah, I believe it was. The team you used to work with in Nasser Hospital, was it foreigners or maybe locals?
The majority were local staff. So they have the Palestinians in Gaza. They are actually very well trained, very well educated. So the professionals in hospitals, they do a great job. We have nurses, anesthesiologists, doctors, surgeons, and physiologists and psychologists, everyone. So most of these are local staff. And for MSF, we have foreigners like me, so we come from all different countries. We go in with our professions to help and to carry out the assignment. But we were only just a very small portion of all the people that worked there.
Yeah. I believe working there was extremely difficult situation. Could you walk us through what a typical day in Gaza looked like for you?
For me, it would be different for the locals, but for me, for us, we wake up early in the morning, and then we maybe if there's a breakfast, then we have a little bit, then we go to the hospital, and then we start the work. And the process from going from where we sleep to the hospital is difficult in itself. That means that we need to apply to the authorities. So what time, how many people are going through what route to the hospital. So everything has to be confirmed and allowed, and then we can departure for the hospital. And then when we get to the hospital, as I'm a plastic surgeon, so my main work is to perform surgeries in the hospital. So we start in the morning, and there would be a very, very long list every day of these patients that are injured by bombs and guns and burn injuries. So we start surgery after surgery, and then there are these patients that are staying in the hospital, these inpatients. And sometimes the outpatient department, there would be some difficult cases, so I would go and check if they need any specific treatment. So it would be non-stop, and then all the way to the afternoon.
So how many hours you used to work there?
We work around 8 hours or something.
I believe it was very intense hours because you have to go.
I could do longer shifts, but it's actually not safe for the patients to do longer shifts. But for the locals, because the number of patients is just overwhelming, so sometimes they do overtime shifts. So like maybe 24 hours or something like that. Yeah.
You mentioned that there was specific time you have to go out and come back. Yeah. Did you feel safe there? Like being a foreigner on the road?
There would be two aspects. The first is that being in Gaza means that you hear bombs, you hear gunshots, you hear drones, you hear planes and tanks 24 hours every day. So there's this constant sound of bombing in the background. So in that kind of situation, you wouldn't feel very relaxed or safe. But on the streets, because the Palestinian people, they are very, very friendly to us. I wouldn't feel anything dangerous. On the street, but the sense of danger would come from all the the war, the sound of war.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Palestinians there, Gazans. How did you find them?
I think the one thing that was out of my expectation was the Palestinian people, because before I went to Gaza, I would imagine that if I was a Palestinian living in Gaza, I would be in constant anger and constant depression, because what you see in the news, their living situation, the number of families and friends that they have lost, I would be in constant negative emotion. But what I didn't expect was that they were just very, I would say, happy sometimes. But the happy is not like, oh, they have nothing to worry about. It's that I think it's in their personality, in their genes, that they're very resilient, they're very optimistic, and they're very, very friendly to us, I mean, as foreigners. So, as you know, the food is very scarce in Gaza, but sometimes they just offer a lot to us that I feel guilty sometimes, because I don't usually eat lunch during surgeries in the middle. So I have to constantly say no to all the offering.
And they keep on offering offering.
The food and the coffee and everything. I mean, the offering is sometimes just cans of food, but it's something that I wasn't expecting. Yes.
Dr. Wu, you have witnessed a scene not many people can imagine. I believe that you described it as the hell on earth.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that day, what you have witnessed or went through?
Yeah. Everything that we see in Gaza is just terrifying. But the thing that I would describe as hell is that because there are these constant bombings. So with every bombing, because the density of population, because of the displacement is just so high in a lot of camps. So every bomb would cause a mass casualty incident we call MCI. So medically, MCI is defined as a single surge of patient to one single hospital is overwhelming for the capacity of that hospital. So in Gaza, we're experiencing constant MCI every week, even every 2 days. So usually I work mainly in the surgical theater, but sometimes we go to the ER to help out because during the MCI, if there's an alarm of MCI, we have to stop the regular surgeries and prepare for emergencies. So that is when I have a little time. So we went to the ER to help, and it was just chaos, pure chaos in the ER. So it was filled with people, all these families, all these patients. And most of the patients are carried in, including a lot of children, a lot of babies. They're just carried in by their families. And most seem lifeless. And we have this room for the most severe patients. Most of them are under emergency resuscitation inside that room. But there are just not so many beds. So most of the patients are treated on the floor. So you see a lot of patients lying on the floor with a lot of people. And everyone is shouting, and there's a lot of blood on the floor, and everyone is outside the ER trying to get in, but there's just only so much room. So it's just I couldn't think of a better word than hell to describe the situation. Yeah, and this would be a constant situation. It's not a specific incident. It's just everything that. They're just experiencing this every week, every few days.
What about the equipment? Was it enough in the hospital and the doctors, nurses?
We were actually very, very short on all the medical supplies. So as MSF, we have a protocol of what we need and how to supply these either instruments or medical supplies, but most of it is blocked outside the border. So usually for no specific reason, we don't know why. So, like when I was in Gaza, there were these trucks of medical supplies that were ordered and also arrived at the border. I think it was a month or 2 months before I arrived, and at the time I left, which was 1 month later, those trucks were still outside the border. So it's not that nothing is. We have those supplies and all the things that needed to treat these patients, but they are just not allowed inside.
During all this horrific time you have encountered there, did you do anything maybe to help yourself to relax or maybe have a bit of calm?
Yeah. Personally, I'm very good at zoning out. So, but then I have this sketchbook with me, which I do some sketching with charcoal. So, I think it's helpful for myself to to get all these off my mind for a moment. I mean, after work, when I'm where I'm living, I'm staying. So every foreigner that goes into Gaza has a kind of a method to cope with these stress. Some do like yoga, or no. Everyone has different methods.
What did you have sketched there?
Just anything I can think of, people, or sometimes just what I see inside where I'm sleeping.
Are there, I believe that you have met many people, local people in Gaza, and you have treated a lot of patients. Are there any particular moments or people you will always remain, or they will always remain in your memory?
Actually there are a few. Actually, there are a lot of people that are staying in northern Gaza, in Gaza City, but they weren't allowed to move south or even move out of Gaza City due to unknown reasons. But during my second visit, there was a very brief period of ceasefire. So the restrictions were lifted a little bit. So that we got some patients that they came down from the north, walked down from north to south to Nasser Hospital. And then there was this little girl. She was, if I remember correctly, she was around 3 years or something. She had a major burn injury on her torso, so it was a very large burn injury. And we had to do several surgeries, including skin graft, to treat her. And I think it took about 2 or 3 weeks for her to heal and be ready to be discharged. And then on the day she was discharged, her mother took her to the front of the operating theater, and then they called for me. So at first I thought she had some questions about the wounds or the scars, to how to care for them. But then when I came out of the door, she just came to say thank you. So it was a very, very touching moment. And so the other staff said, how about we take a picture? And then I said, yeah, sure, if she agrees. And I don't have a lot of pictures with my patients, but that was one picture I still remember. And she even said that maybe sometime in the future I'm welcome to visit her home, and then her family would treat me, and we could have it. But I mean, she doesn't even have a home right now. It's already destroyed. But it was, I could feel that the invitation was very genuine. So she actually meant it. I mean, after everything, maybe sometime in the future. So it was a very touching moment for me. Yeah.
On your first mission to Gaza, Dr. Wu, when did you decide to come back to Taiwan?
Actually, the length of the mission is predetermined because everything has to go according to schedule. So, I mean, I would have a replacement, sometimes not, sometimes yes. But anyway, it was around 1 month something. And then after a few months, after I think it was around 4 or 5 months, I received a second offer to go back to Gaza again, because apparently the number of patients wasn't decreasing, so they still needed a plastic surgeon. So that was when I went to the second time to Gaza. Yeah.
After returning to Taiwan, I believe it is 2 different lives, there and here. Yes. How did you cope with the emotional, psychological impact of that journey? Was it easy to readjust to your life here in Taiwan?
After returning from the first mission and then the second mission, both times I took some time to, like you said, readjust to the everything in Taiwan. The first thing I needed to readjust was the quietness of the surroundings. So I think it's very difficult to imagine that. Okay, so as you know, Taiwan, especially Taipei, it's very busy, always very noisy, the traffic sound. But why I would describe it as quiet is that you don't hear the bombing, the planes, the drones. I mean, it's relatively very quiet. So that was the first thing that I had to adjust. And then there was this this knowing that I can plan something ahead of this time. I mean, I can plan something tomorrow. I can plan something next week, next month, or even next year. It will probably, I'll probably get to do it. But I mean, in Gaza, it's like always like things can always suddenly change in an instant. So it's kind of difficult to adjust to these different expectations.
Looking back, what kind of professional or even personal message or a lesson you have learned from this mission, or did you feel it changed anything in your view, your work, or even lifestyle?
Yes, I would say it changed me a lot. The greatest thing that I noticed the change in myself would be that I thought I knew about Gaza, about Palestinians, about the Middle East, but I mean, exactly going there and then seeing in person everything, it's very, very different from what I would say I saw when I was in Taiwan. So I think there are many different reasons of that. But what I learned is that it's very easy to judge something or to comment on something when you're very far away from it, when you don't actually understand that much and maybe even not willing to understand it. But for example, Gaza, it wasn't what I thought I knew, wasn't like what I saw on the news or in Taiwan or anything before my first assignment and then the second assignment. And then I think it just changed me a lot to be more objective and try to understand more before jumping to any conclusions.
Recently, news broke about the ceasefire in Gaza starting from October 10th. How did you feel when you first heard of the announcement?
I would say not very optimistic, because during my second assignment, it was actually also during the ceasefire. But we were still constantly receiving patients that were injured by bombs and guns. So just not as much as during the full-scale conflict. So what I learned is that a ceasefire in Gaza is not actually a ceasefire. So when I first heard about the ceasefire in October, I just thought of my second visit in Gaza. So, I mean, a ceasefire would mean that you don't have any new patients. Yes. I think that would be what a ceasefire means. But I didn't think that it would actually be like that. And also I had many doubts about if it would last, because the first one in March, it just suddenly ended abruptly. Yeah.
Unfortunately, since the ceasefire till now, I guess there are over 200 people were killed in Gaza. So actually, there's no ceasefire.
That is also honest. What the information we received from our staff in Gaza. Yeah. Yes.
Dr. Wu, finally, what message would you like to share with our audience today?
What I would like to share is that as a humanitarian organization, we couldn't emphasize enough the importance of a sustained ceasefire, a lifting of all the blocks of humanitarian aid, and also everything that is core to being a human. I think all these values shouldn't vary depending on which side you're on, what kind of people you are, what ethnicity you are, where you live. I don't think anything should change this. And also everyone, no matter what you stand for, should value these, because being a human, shouldn't change in any situation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Wu, for sharing everything with us today. I really appreciate everything you have done for the Palestinians there in Gaza. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.